morning.
Morning. Sorry, I've got to put my headphones in.
So,
and to turn my microphone towards me. Oh, shit. God damn it.
We are the consummate professionals around here.
Dude.
Are you there? What happened? Well, looks like Dag may have completely crashed everything. So, you're stuck with me until he comes back. But luckily, we're still banned from YouTube, at least for the next today and Wednesday's episode. We'll be back on Friday, as long as we don't do anything to piss them off in the meantime. We're suspended, so you would think we couldn't, but the video that got taken down was some months old, so who knows?
Oh, I think I just fried my computer.
That's probably not a good thing.
No, it is not. I'm pretty sure I have all my key phrases written down somewhere. God, I hope so.
What'd you do? Knock your cup of coffee over or something?
Over, and then the computer just shut off. So.
Well, fill a bag with rice.
I knew it was gonna happen one day. Like I set my computer, yeah, I tried to set my computer on top of shit and get glasses off of here. Oh fuck! Oh well.
Fill a big
That's all right.
bag
I'm on
with
my phone
rice
now.
and just
We'll get through this.
drop it.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Fill a big bag with rice and just drop it in there, and it'll all be okay.
Yeah, it'll bait Asians into coming in the night and fixing my phone or my computer.
Well, I was gonna ask, how did
We're not going to talk about it anymore.
how did putting all of your eggs in the Tampa Bay basket work out for you with the fantasy games last night?
Well, let me just pull up my fantasy football on the computer. Ah, damn it. Apparently not well. It was funny because, like, for most of the day, because, like, Tampa goes on at 8:30, so it's like, all right, just gotta wait till my guys go out there. I had a couple. I have to pull it up and check. I actually made a lineup change yesterday, and I think it was the right move by looking at scores. For those dudes, I took Lazard out and put in somebody else.
Yeah,
because I guess Lazard had some injury issue.
Yeah, Lazard didn't play, so literally anybody else was a better choice.
Yeah, but my kicker did better than Phil, so
your kicker did better than your kicker scored more points than Tom Brady, so that can tell you what kind of a night you have.
Yeah, I was fairly disappointed, but Tampa didn't even score a touchdown, did they?
I don't think they did. I think that's all they did was kick field goals.
I think it was like it was like 3 points.
They scored. Yeah, they scored a touchdown. Well, I was watching the updates and kind of keeping up with that game because Clyde had the Dallas tight end. And if he would have like underperformed or really had kind of a nothing burger of a game, then it would come down to tonight between Jerry Jeudy on Denver, who Clyde has, and DK Metcalf on Seattle that I have. And that would have been a favorable matchup for me. I think Metcalf is going to have a good night. But the Dallas quarterback got hurt. And as backups do, he just kept dumping the ball off to his tight end. And fuck me. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose to Clyde in week 1.
You guys are pretty close there.
As if electrocuting myself multiple times working on the house last week weren't enough. As if almost literally blowing myself up Saturday wasn't enough. Now I'm going to lose in week 1 to fucking Clyde. And he's going to come on Wednesday and just talk shit nonstop about how he won. I can just feel it coming.
Well, what else is he going to do? That's all we got.
It's all he's got going on in his life.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's weird actually sort of caring about football. Definitely is.
I think Clyde, because Clyde has a solid team. I think he's pulling like the sleeper agent on us. He's pretending that he's real cool and doesn't know anything about the sports ball stuff. And when secretly he's been like winning leagues for years. And then, so he's just like playing it off all dumb. Like, what's a waiver wire? What's a tight end do? Is he on offense or defense? Like these questions are starting to seem a little too obvious. It's like, I'm on to you, motherfucker.
Yep. No, he does. He has a history of winning, I think. It could just be dumb luck. That's what I always assumed.
Honestly, I think we talked about it Friday. Like, I legitimately want to see Clyde win the league just so, like, Magoo will rage quit fantasy football. That's kind of what I want to see now. But, you know, all this sports talk. Speaking of people who don't have anything else going on in their lives, let's check in on this dude. I believe that is a foot soldier in the woke army that will be leading the charge against the ultra magas in the Civil War coming up.
What was that?
It's an erratic style that's hard to predict, so it can be challenging. And then my fear is that my typical go-to of a swift kick to the groin won't have the effect it usually has.
Like, oh yes, do that again.
Yeah. Oh no, that's it. That's all I got.
Yes, Daddy, harder.
What's up, Mark?
I'm going back to bed.
I mean, you should have some sort of bragging to do today.
I mean, it's just week 1. We left some points on the field. Could have been a better performance, but overall, I'm okay with the performance.
Could it have been a better performance?
I don't think so. It's probably the most points I've ever scored in fantasy, but
Jesus, your bench is going to outscore. I think your bench would have outscored both Trey and my wife.
How's your team, Dag?
I didn't do great last night.
No.
Would look up the details for you, but I don't have the ability to do that at the moment.
Dag, so Dag fried his computer. I tried to blow myself up. We've had a eventful few days here
on air. Yeah, it was a good time.
At least I didn't try to blow myself up on air. That
was
probably
that
would
just
have
a few minutes ago.
So tell me about your blowing yourself up story, because I've got one of those too.
Yeah, let's hear this.
Okay. So this old ass gas oven that we've got, that we used to have at the house that we've been working on. I was cooking breakfast and frying up some bacon, and I was going to throw some biscuits in, and I turned it on, and I opened it up, and I checked, and I was like, this isn't getting warm. And my wife said, oh, you have to light the pilot. It doesn't auto light. I'm like, okay, cool. So I don't smell gas or anything. So I grabbed the little lighter that we've got sitting right next to the oven and reach down there and strike it. And as I do, giant fireball blows out of the oven and blows the top off of the oven. It's amazing that the bacon and the bacon grease and all were still intact in the pan. Like bacon grease didn't go flying everywhere.
Here, catch on fire or whatever. Ooh.
I just like singed all the hair off my right arm, a little bit on my left arm, and a little bit around my knees. The first thing I did because as my mom, when my wife told my mom that I tried to blow myself up, Mom was like, "Well, this isn't the first time he's done that." I'm like, "Thanks, Mom." Like, you're not supposed to rat me out like that. But yes, this isn't the first time I've done something like that. So my immediate reaction was to check my face, because last time I did this, I singed the shit out of my eyebrows. But all facial hair is intact. It just got the arm. It feels really weird. I'd like for it to grow back now. I don't like this. I'm kind of I almost feel like I should just shave it all and start fresh, because it's like I look like a cancer patient. It's kind of weird. But if I shave this arm, I got to shave the other arm. It's just too much work. And how far up do I shave? Because I got kind of hairy arms. Like, do I go all the way to the shoulder, or what? I don't know how to do this.
I'm telling you, just shave everything. At this point, become the cancer patient.
I guess so. So anyway, I had an eventful weekend.
It would have been good for the show if you would have lost some facial hair. Just saying.
I'm surprised it didn't get the bottom of your beard. Like it's coming in nicely over there.
I am too. I really thought it would have gotten like something else other than. I mean, I guess the way I turned, like I turned toward it with my right arm, and the rest of my body was kind of angled away. So it makes sense that it would have just got my arm as the fireball came out. But Stephanie was like if I'm here at the oven, Stephanie was right there in that entryway, like almost the exact same distance, and it shook the entire house. My son was in the bathroom taking a shit, and he's like freaking out. He goes, "What was that? What just happened?" And I'm pretty sure Stephanie like came really close to actually having a heart attack, because she does have a mild heart condition. So
She finally got you to put your head in the oven.
Night.
What, Mark?
I say, way to go. You just ruined everyone's weekend, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. But she was a lot more shaken up by it than I was. I was like, I'm the one who was consumed by a fireball and survived. And I was like, I'm the one who literally got blown up. You were in a whole other room. It's like, how are you more shaken by this than I am? Probably because it wasn't my first time, I guess.
That's why we should repeal the 19th Amendment, right?
That's right.
Yeah, somehow we got to work it back around to that. I was more concerned by Sean. I mean, if you can't take a poop in peace, then your weekend's ruined. Your night's ruined. Your whole night's ruined.
He was supposed to be taking a shower. Instead, he went in there and took like a 20-minute dump. I'm like, that's his own fault.
That's a pre-shower ritual, probably.
Yeah, that's a smart way to do it. Even if I don't think I have to, if I'm jumping in the shower, I'm going to try and poop first, because, why not?
It's the science.
Yeah. We had a party one time, and I must have been like 20. And it was the end of the night. It was like 6 a.m. And I was trying to get like the fire pit going, and I was way too drunk,
Not the night.
Yeah, the sun was still down, and the wood that we had prepared, it was still kind of green, and it wasn't really burning. And I always like have a rule, like don't play with gasoline. But like I'm like, oh, the chainsaw's here, and there's a little bit of gas in it. Let me just dump some gas out on this not fire. And so I'm putting the gas in the fire, and there's no fire at the time, but apparently there was enough embers. And the whole thing just woof, with like me standing in the middle of it. And it was fine. I was fine. But like, even with the shirt on, like I lost all like my body hair, but no facial hair. Didn't quite get that high. But, there's a few ways I'm comfortable with dying, but I don't want it to be like a story in the newspaper. Like, look at this dumb redneck.
Yeah. It's a Florida man, right?
Exactly. I don't want to die in a fireball. I don't want to die under my lawnmower. Or something crazy like that. Like, that's just my goal. Like, when I go to do something stupid, I say, no, D, this, I don't really care about my legacy typically, but I don't want that to be the story in the newspaper. That's all.
That's fair.
It's my small asking of my death.
Say the last time I almost blew myself up, it was trying to light a grill, and similar thing happened. I shot a giant fireball out, and that was when I lost a decent portion of my eyebrows. The time before, my uncle and I were shooting off fireworks and had one of those like big boomers that's supposed to go way up in the air and be this huge, impressive explosion. Yeah, that fucker came 6 inches out of the tube, hit the ground right in front of us, and I'm surprised either of us lived. I just covered my face and hoped for the best. I had a little singe mark on my pants, and my uncle's already deaf, so like it didn't bother him. Somehow he didn't get touched at all. Like nothing hit him at all. I mean, we were like within 3 feet of this thing when it blew up. It's a wonder we weren't completely roasted. So yeah, I've had a few encounters with almost
keep
blowing
Justin
myself
away from ovens and grills, apparently.
Set the backyard on fire one time.
Yeah. Grass fires are scary too. They get out of control quick.
I had to go rescue the dog. My wife had the dog tied up in the backyard, and the fire took off. And it's like, oh, dog, yeah, gotta grab him.
Mm.
It was like, dog or Sean? Dog.
Hey, the kid should be able to figure it out on his own at this point. You know what I mean? The dog has the handicap. So if your son at whatever age, 10 or above, he can find his way out of a grass fire. Yeah, if he can't,
that's on him. Like,
survival.
Yeah. I have done
you failed
my
as
part.
a parent, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, by that point in life, I've done my part. If he didn't grasp any of it, and he's willing to stand there and die in a fire, like that's on him. I'll try again, and hopefully the next one's a little bit smarter.
He's got shoes. The dog doesn't. It's.
Well, I mean, the dog
just
could
a
only
grass
run
fire.
so.
Come on.
The dog could only run so far because it was on the tie-off.
Oh yeah, it was tethered. Yeah, you got to go for the dog then. Yeah.
Well, then my wife was like, "I'm calling the fire department." I was like, the neighbor's got a hose on his back step. I just ran over there and grabbed it and hosed out the yard. By the time the fire department showed up, I already had it all out.
Yeah, you go calling the local government. What ends up happening is then you get a ticket for an unsecured lawn fire. So it's like, no, shut up. Don't narc us out here, or lecturing by a fireman,
Well, it was really funny because after I blew up the oven the other day, I was talking about controlled explosions, and my daughter said, "There's no such thing as a controlled explosion." I said, "Obviously, you haven't heard of 9/11."
Here we go. This is the perfect transition.
And her eyes got real big, and her jaw dropped. She's like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that." I'm like, "Really? How well do you know me?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I guess that's right." Just look up Tower 7.
Yeah, you have to start at Tower 7 because that's the most conspicuous one.
Then check out the Pentagon. Yeah. I mean, airplanes flying 3 feet off the ground doesn't seem like a real.
It's an amazing pilot.
Man.
They had some good, strictly in-flight training. So.
What else we got going on?
That one lady died. We talked about that though.
Did we talk about her dying?
I think so.
Oh, did you see her idiot son and his signing papers and stuff over the weekend?
That's the new king?
Yeah, Charles the pedophile.
Yeah, I tried to tell someone that he had connections to Epstein the other day, and they did not believe me.
Let's see.
I'm
pretty
sure it's not him. I'm like, I think it is him.
It's 100% him. Hang on, there's an interesting video.
I think while you're looking this up, Meghan Markle is definitely trying to figure out a way to murder the right amount of people to where Harry can be the next king, right? Like, there's no doubt about this.
I mean, how
But
many
she's got
people
it's got to be super tragic. Like, she has to kill all of William's family and this old pedo. Is that right?
Is that happening? What did I miss?
You didn't miss anything. It's just just kind of figuring out what Meghan Markle's going to do to try to get herself into the chair.
Oh, damn it.
Dude, that's been my whole morning, is screaming, "Ah, damn it." I just want to go back to bed.
I found the link to the video, and I've been blocked. This motherfucker.
We can't watch this video. I lost my favorite new flashlight. I had a bunch of chicks die. I blew up my computer. I don't know. I've been looking all over for it. I don't know. I'm heartbroken.
This sucks.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a video of, I guess I should say King Charles now, walking up to the table where he's going to sit down and sign all these papers. And there are things on the table, and he's like telling all the peasants to move these things. Like, he can't be bothered to move the things out of the way of where he's going to sit. And then as he's sitting there signing the papers, he like bumps into something that's too close to him, and he's like, "Take it away! Take it away!" Like, dude, chill the fuck out. You could just move it. I don't know. Apparently, he has some like really weird rituals and stuff, like his day-to-day routine and the things that he has the servants do for him is like really fucked up. So,
oh boy,
congratulations. Long live the king, I guess.
Well, especially when you start getting like 70, 80-year-old people who have only been served their whole life and they start going insane. So that's got to get weird.
All of Congress.
Yeah.
Well, just looking at this dude, like, it really kind of seems like the royal inbreeding thing is kind of starting to take a toll on the whole bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's been happening for thousands of years. But didn't seem as bad, years ago.
His second cousins catch up eventually.
Yeah,
just takes a little bit longer.
You got experience, Dagger.
He's from Florida, of course he does. Probably went to
Apparently,
high
I got
school.
Appalachian in my blood too. So
probably went to high school with at least a handful.
There were like at one of the high schools I attended, there was a cousin couple. And it was like a thing.
That's
yeah.
Like first cousins?
I don't know. I think so. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have been as much of a thing. What is that? Second cousins? It's a small enough town. There's only so many people. I mean,
that's why I didn't date anybody from where I lived. Like, dated from other schools. That way, there was a minimal chance.
I think you have that problem in like small island communities, man. You gotta like swap a few people out every couple of years, trade them out with another island. Don't laugh at me like that. It's genetics, dude. I'm not being weird here.
No, I mean,
it's math. Right. Come on.
People do be fucking, I guess.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna fuck what's available. So
on a long enough timeline, we're all related.
There we go. Going back to the garden now.
Well, speaking of relations, let's see.
Well, we talk about Meghan McCain a lot.
Well, I mean, she can't help but be the bimbo in the news. Meghan McCain's husband, Ben Dominic, brags about his wife's big tits.
On what platform? That's curious.
He found himself in a social media feud with followers after he said that former President Donald Trump totally botched the COVID-19 pandemic. In response, one follower decided to attack his wife, Meghan McCain, and her body. Meghan must be waving those fat boobs of hers to get your attention, loser. And his response was, I must inform you, it does not make me a loser to have a wife with big tits. We live in the best timeline. Like, this is the best timeline, hands down.
It's not
It is kind of a hell of an
response.
insult, you know.
Right.
It's like, yeah, okay. Your point?
And then she gives the typical wife response. Oh my God, Ben. Zoom in.
What'd she say?
Oh, well, let me zoom in. Sorry. Forget y'all can't read little print.
I'm on my phone today. Relax.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're on your phone?
Yes, he
Yes.
destroyed his
Oh, because you
computer. We
almost blew up
discussed
your
this.
computer. A little slow.
Isn't that the typical wife answer? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what my wife comments or replies on like 90% of my tweets. Oh my God, Justin. Don't be saying my real name. I'm trying to remain anonymous here.
You?
Yeah, I'm doing a pretty good job of it.
I mean, I called you Jason. So,
I tried to make that stick and it just didn't work out.
no.
Anything else interesting about this? There's her tits.
Is her husband somebody?
No.
I never heard anything about her husband.
I think he wrote a book.
Everybody
Yeah, who
wrote a
hasn't?
book.
I think it was one of the typical Republican Party went bad when it nominated Trump stuff. So he's one of those guys.
I thought she wrote that book. Are you saying that
she probably wrote it for him, or they both wrote their own, and it's a series? I don't know.
Are you saying she plagiarized her husband?
Yeah, she Joe Biden'd her husband. That sounds a lot worse than it could be.
Calm down there. Not that kind of show.
Oh.
Well, speaking of Joe Biden, we got some another nugget from his fantastic press secretary. Let's see what this dumb bitch had to say this time.
It's like a competition between her and Kamala and Joe. And
oh man,
like who's the most
this was
mentally
very Kamala-esque. She
You saying that because she's black?
No, if you haven't seen this, you'll see. Oh, it's after Labor Day, so she can wear white now, I guess.
Is that the rule?
Thank you. You've been referring to this new shot as the updated COVID-19 vaccine. Can you explain a little bit more the decision to no longer be calling it just a booster?
Well, we have to remember we haven't seen a new vaccine since December 2020. Our health and medical experts made an independent determination that we now have new updated vaccine, as you just said, to fight COVID. It is the first time that we have seen this type of updated vaccine, like I said, since December of 2020. And the message to folks that we are providing is if you're 12 or older and it's been at least 2 months since you last got a shot, you should get these new updated vaccines right away. That's the doctor's advice, and they made this decision independently.
But you do still need to get the first original dose before you can get this shot. The FDA, the CDC, they're still referring to this as a booster. So I guess why the discrepancy? Are you concerned that may cause some confusion?
Well, I'm not going to get into like regulatory language on what to call this. I'll leave that to a booster or a vaccine. I'm just laying out what the doctors and the expert have recommended. This is again a new vaccine. We haven't seen a new vaccine since December 2020. What this vaccine does, it targets the Omicron variant, which is the dominant variant, not just here, but globally. And this is good news. This is a step forward, and we're going to hear more from the president about this. But we think this is, again, a good step forward. We are in a place where COVID is now manageable. We know what works. We know what keeps us safe. What keeps us from not getting sick is by getting vaccinated. And right now, if you think about it, there's more than 200 million Americans who are currently fully vaccinated. That's 77% of the population who are 12 and older. And so that's an important way forward that the president has worked very hard since stepping into the administration to make sure that we had a comprehensive vaccine, getting shots into arms operation. And this is part of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Are we back on YouTube?
No.
Okay.
Not until Friday.
Not until Friday. So we're just on Facebook and
The tweeters. I mean, I will post this to YouTube as soon as we're back on YouTube. So if you're thinking about saying something spicy,
Okay.
I won't post this one to YouTube. I'll just
I
put
was
it
just
on.
wondering about 9/11 death totals and comparing it to others.
So what, 6 million or what? No,
Not that one, but
I just wanted to say a long string of like 8 trigger words in a row. I decided against it.
yeah.
You're welcome. Oh,
Is
man.
it really? It's 2 months now. It used to be 3 months. So now people are getting shots every 2 months,
that's what they recommend.
according to the doctors and the expert.
The experts.
That was
Expert, just the one.
She
Just
left
the
it at
expert.
1, so I was like, is that Fauci? Is that Gates?
Probably Fauci.
Doesn't matter.
I wondered if
he
it
is
was.
the science. So
I wondered if it was Gates though, because she already said doctors, and you can't put doctor in front of Bill's name just yet. Anyways, we'll try.
well, somebody found us. Don't know who it is, but
What
Is this
up?
not Corey?
Corey was the one talking about Megan McCain's tatas.
They both say Facebook user to me.
Well,
Morning, finally, yeah.
Morning, Facebook
See?
user.
yes. Hello, Facebook user.
It might be Steven.
If you would grant, it might be. If you would grant StreamYard permission to show your name on Facebook, then we
Don't
can
do
see
that.
who you are.
It's okay. It's
I
okay,
wouldn't recommend it.
Facebook user.
Oh,
It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Carlos was the one talking about Megan McCain's tatas.
Yeah, of course. It's Magoo. How you doing, Magoo? Now I'm
Magoo.
He's
Lighting
rubbing
up
some
a little
Vaseline
bit.
on his butthole. Should have used
Talk
that
smack to me.
beforehand.
That's what he gets. He changed his team name and everything.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, that was kind of funny.
Which one was funny?
Name change. Giselle's pool boy.
Yeah. I took
Yeah,
him
that
out
was a
to
good
the
one.
pool house.
Good times. So news. We got current event. We got.
I do actually.
There was
there's
one
a-
more.
Going on?
Oh, please change it to that.
What?
His comment.
Oh shit.
And then whoever beats you next week, you can be their bitch for a week and just rotate out throughout the season. You'll go 0 and whatever, and Clyde will win, and that'll be the end
Oh,
of fantasy.
whatever.
I would love to win, but it would be worse for Clyde to win first than for me to finish middle of the pack.
Are we gonna do some sort of? What does the loser have to do? What are we doing? We're on week 1 here. We got to come up with something before we get too deep.
Yeah, we got to come up with the loser punishments because we're gonna have 5 people who are sitting at 0 and 1 at the end of this week. So
We got we at least have so far a small prize package for the winner. We're gonna see what we can get added to that, but yeah, we got to come up with something. That may be some sort of Shiva style trophy. I don't know.
There it is. Yeah. Well,
Maybe a Sacco.
We do have multiple goat farmers. I'm sure somebody is willing to go cut some nuts off and turn it into a trophy.
Mine needs its nuts for now.
That's the problem. Is mine does too, and I'm not sure where. Well, the little one, his nuts have been gone for a while. I don't know where they ended up, and they would have been little, tiny, shriveled up things anyway. So,
Well, that's okay. It saves on shipping.
oh God, yes. Well, speaking of saving on shipping, you might want to start buying all of your weapons
Oh
in
boy.
cash only?
He says he's gonna put this back on YouTube.
Maybe.
New
Global
merchant
standards
code
body
for
approves new
gun
merchant code.
sellers. So what? I mean, okay, so what exactly does that mean?
Magoo's or the headline?
The headline.
So ISO has now set a global standard for this gun merchant code for gun purchases that is being adopted by Visa, and as of right now, Visa is adopting it, and Amalgamated is the name of the bank. They're the only ones who's actually going to be putting it into effect, but it's only a matter of time before the government starts breathing down the rest of the banking system's neck that, hey, you have to start using this merchant code. Basically what it does is if you purchase a gun with your Visa debit or credit card, it will show up as you purchased a gun. It will show up as you purchased ammunition. It will show up as you purchased whatever it is you purchased, as opposed to it being like a generic purchase from
JJ's
Bud's
Gun Shack LLC or some
Bud's
something,
gun store or whatever. Like, it'll show up as it'll start cataloging what you bought.
Yeah, actually flag it instead of instead of them having to look at you specifically, it'll show that you specifically bought that.
Right. It's effectively it's creating an illegal registry, but that's not the way it's going to be viewed by the average dumbass, because the average dumbass doesn't understand how this kind of shit works. So yeah, this is not great. But you know what the big loophole to that is? I know it's not Bitcoin, Dag.
Although it should be.
Cash. Just pay with cash.
Cash money, homie.
Cash Money Records.
Hell yeah. That's cool too.
Think about just pulling all of my money out of the bank and going cash only.
I'm surprised you haven't yet.
Me too, honestly.
He's so disappointed in himself.
My dad opened a bank account for me when I was like 11, and he put some money in it. And when I was like 14, I took all the money out. You get
a small loan of $1 million, like
something like that. Not quite $1 million. I think it was like $750,000. But anyway, when I was like 14, I went to the bank and took all the money out of it, and like never put money back in it. Like, this, I don't trust the bank to handle my money. I'll keep my own money. Thank you very much. Like, I cashed all my checks and everything. Up until college, I didn't have any money in the bank account. And the only reason that I started doing it then was because I bought a house, and it was just more convenient for the money to be in a bank account, so that when the mortgage payment came out every month, it could just come straight out of the account. I wasn't having to take cash back to the bank to.
Yeah, some shit likes to come out of a bank account, you know. I broke down and had to get one because it was like my mortgage payment or something years ago had to be in a check, you know, so I had to go get a checking account.
Wad of cash and just be like,
yeah, like, can't just be a money order? You're like, I've always been a loser my whole life. That's how I pay my rent, right? And they're like, no, check. Okay.
Yeah, when you show up at the bank and just start rolling out $100 bills, they start getting a little concerned for some reason. Show up at the gun store and start rolling out $100 bills, on the other hand, they will love you forever.
Yes, sir.
What did you need? You?
Heck yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, it's always gonna be some sort of stupid registry thing, and it's like, I don't know if it's a federal thing. I think it's a federal thing, but if you buy so many handguns in a certain period, like a 1 month period, they alert your sheriff of your county, which, like we discussed on the last episode, my sheriff don't care. I didn't realize it was a thing, so I was buying like the gun store. They were like, "Hey, just so you know, because you were here last week too, you have to write a letter to the sheriff." But he's like, "Don't worry, Judd don't care." That's like, oh, yeah, I'm sure he don't.
His name would be Judd.
Yeah. Oh man, I meant to find a There's gonna be a compilation video or something of some of his hilarious stuff. I'll figure it out. I'll get one for one of these upcoming shows.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking about last week about how like, oh yeah, he holds like if his deputies like do something wrong, like he's very public about like, shaming them or holding them to whatever standards. And had an incident back in like 2008. I tinted like all the sheriff's cars. They got all new Impalas, and they'd come in and they'd be like, "Yo, I want this level of tint on my, cruiser, whatever they call it. I don't know." And I'm like, all right, just so you know, that's not legal. And he's like, "Dude, I'm a cop. I don't care." I'm like, you're gonna have to pay to have this redone. I'm just telling you. And they're like, "Nah, ain't a thing." And a few weeks later, I redid like half the cars to like legal limits, and the deputies had to pay for them because he did the inspection and inspected all their cars. In fairness, though, it's because there was one deputy who had like a vanity license plate frame and like tassels and like truck nuts and like just ruined it for everybody, basically. So he came through and inspected all the cars, and yeah, they all had to have legal tint, except for the K9 units. But so he holds a little bit of a standard, I got a slight amount of respect for that, I suppose.
Of course, the deputies would do some dumbass shit. I mean, we did talk about the IQ requirement or the IQ limitations that they have for law enforcement. So
yeah,
naturally,
and I gotta say, like there was a lot of nice perks that like I knew, like all the deputies in like the county that I lived in, like I put the logo of the company, the shop that I worked at, all over my car, so they'd all know, who I was when I was driving around, because I worked in other vehicles. And one thing I learned is when you're working on a cop's car, they're very nice to you. So, but I would get no customers would walk in when I was working on when I had a cruiser in the bay. No, I was in the hood. No customers would walk in. I had dudes walk in the door, not realizing there was a cop sitting in the lobby. Look at me, look at the cop, and like come on, it's okay. I'd have to like coax them in, like, come on, it's okay. What do you need? They'd leave without getting their change, like they were just out of there. It was so funny. I mean, the deputy would look at each other and be like, "Damn," he's like sitting there typing on his laptop. He's like, "What am I gonna do? Chase it?" Like, I don't care. It's so funny. Poor guys. I mean, I get it. Cops terrify me too. I get it. If I was, of a different complexion and everything, I might be a little scared of that too. So,
are you saying cops are racist?
Sometimes. I'm just saying. Look, I had a black friend growing up, and he got laid out by the cops several times when he had done nothing wrong. Never got arrested or anything, but we heard reports of somebody had a gun or somebody was walking through this neighborhood. Just things like that. People would just call the cops on him for walking down the street. It did happen. What can I say? It was a mostly white neighborhood, though. So
the important takeaway from this is Dag had a black friend.
I did.
Yeah.
I miss him. I haven't seen him in a while.
Got killed by a cop. Sorry, that was a bad joke.
Say probably doing life for a dime bag.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's all so funny, but not funny. He is alive. I'm pretty sure of that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I can call the cops on him more now. That was me. I called back in the day. 7-year-old me is like, there's no way. Not in my neighborhood.
Oh man. Well, we had me, him, and then our third friend was half Filipino, so we were really quite the bunch walking around.
Wow.
Yeah. We'd usually walk in level of gradient, So me on one end, Frank on the other.
That's a lot of diversity.
Filipino in the middle. Yeah.
Italian.
I don't know if it was purposeful. It's just the way it worked out.
Well, like you go in first, so it was light, darker, darkest, and then y'all would leave in the reverse order.
You got to leave the shop keep feeling comforted as you walk in. You don't just start them off, with the black dude up front. Come in with me up front, and then at least when he sees the the Italian or worse is behind me, okay, well, they're with this guy. He'll, they're okay. So here's a method.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
speaking of them, there's a speaking of
that was
the
weird.
method.
Let's move on.
Apparently, there's a method to the madness of what's going on in Ukraine.
Okay, I'm glad. Glad we're not just dicking off for no reason.
Oh yeah, the green dream to rebuild a sustainable Ukraine from the rubble of war. They're going to take the bombed out, war-torn Ukraine and rebuild it into a global powerhouse of green energy. And it's going to be like, this is going to be the poster child for the Great Reset or some such shit.
And they're going to name it just another portion of Russia.
Is this like a Marshall Plan kind of thing?
The war's widespread devastation provides an opportunity to rebuild the nation on more sustainable grounds. And plans are already circulating.
I'm excited.
The urban planner who runs his own agency in Kiev has an eye on the future. As we all support the army financially, our agency opens additional preparation to rebuild our country. Contact me in case you're interested to support our idea, our country, and our new chapter. And their new chapter is a non-profit that he founded called Restart Ukraine that wants to invest in green-minded initiatives to rebuild and reshape a new and more modern and more sustainable Ukraine after all of this is over with.
Oh,
I don't know what
cool.
to add.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's what you would expect, right? Like, this is sort of par for the course with this kind of thing, right? Like, don't they come in and rescue a place and then? Have you guys read Confessions of an Economic Hitman? No.
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't read it.
He kind of lays out, like, he used to do this as a profession, but yeah, they basically, I'm not saying this is exactly what's going on there, but they come into some place and, oh man, all these American companies are going to come in, do all these infrastructure projects, and all the banks are going to finance it, and you're going to end up, you're going to reap all the fruits of this. We're going to modernize your infrastructure and blah, blah, blah. And they completely blow up the numbers, and then they do all this stuff, and the country doesn't become rich. And so then it's like, oh, well, you owe us all this money for doing all this stuff now. So tell you what, we'll just go ahead and take all your resources and, call it even. And, varying effects of that kind of model. But, it's, hey, we're going to come in, rescue you, launder all this money through you. Don't worry, we're going to leave you really awesome. We're going to do all this cool stuff. You'll be great, when we're done. Something tells me it's not going to be the case. Something tells me the people of Ukraine are not going to be better off for all this.
Well, once that starts to happen, the people of Ukraine might realize that the people of Russia are actually their real allies, and be like, "Hey, can we come back? Like, you can have Donbass and all the rest. Well, this whole situation we've been put in over here is pretty fucked up. Maybe we liked it better when we were a Russian province."
What does a urban planner do?
You're gonna have
other than screw stuff up.
You're gonna have to call Barack. I really don't know.
So, what was community organizer?
Oh, is that what?
It's probably around the same thing. I don't know.
Community organizer, urban planner, it's all the same shit.
When I heard that term as you were reading it, I thought of how, like, the NBA doesn't allow owners to be called owners anymore, and they're governors. So it's like, I mean, if you want a more applicable, I don't know, just an example.
Overseer.
Overseer of slavery. I feel like it's more the urban planner than the owner of an NBA team.
I do find it really interesting how a lot of these articles talk about how 6 months into the war, hostilities have damaged or destroyed an estimated 131 residential buildings, 25,000 kilometers of road, and about 2,000 shops across the country. The war has also displaced nearly 14 million people, a third of Ukraine's population, since Russia began its invasion in February. In early September, more than 600,000 electricity consumers were cut off from the power grid, while 235,000 homes remained without gas supply. Well, the power and the gas thing, you kind of going by NATO's playbook and pissing off the people who are supplying you with all your gas and power. So no shit, Sherlock. And then where is all this destruction and devastation? Is it exclusively in Donbass? Because they talk about Kiev a lot, but then any of the pictures you see, there are people like partying in the streets and they're having these big like galas and stuff like that. And it's like everybody going to the beach. Like it seems like maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like the war is kind of isolated to a very specific part of the country. The one that Russia said from the get-go, hey, we're taking this back. We don't have to do all this bullshit. You can just like not be dicks about it. And then here we are, 6 months later.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Y'all are supposed to push back or add something. You're not supposed to just sit and agree. You're not supposed to just sit around and agree with me all the time.
Yeah, but, Justin, Vladimir Putin is a modern day Hitler, and he needs to be suppressed as much as possible, perhaps even removed by the CIA, so that we can put someone so much better in place in Russia.
Do you think the CIA has the balls or the reach to try to do that?
It would be tough.
I don't know. Probably not. I think instead we'll just send billions in aid to Ukraine and see what happens.
Well, I mean, that's what are we up to now? Like pushing 40, isn't it? At this point, I think we could have ended world hunger instead.
This is the price we pay for democracy, and it's 100% worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good enough pushback for you, or
do you hate democracy? Here's a thought.
If I have to pay a little more at the pump, it's worth it for the Ukrainian citizens.
Of course. So obviously there's energy issues with being cut off from Russia, right? What's happening in Germany, etc. Which, by the way, that whole video of them like, oh, look at Germany's response to Trump's, they're just like it's not even a big response. They just like look at each other. I'm like, is this really like, is this all you got? Anyhow, is this like their solution to that? We're gonna make like Ukraine the new Russia energy thing, but it's gonna be green and wonderful, and it'll power all of the rest of Europe. Is that what they're going for here? Like it's supposed to power the rest of Europe, or is this just supposed to be for Ukraine?
I think it's just supposed to be for Ukraine and make Ukraine like energy independent or something like that. Because there's no way that they could possibly think that these green energy plants or whatever you want to call them are going to power like more than exclusively what they're intended to power. Like, I mean, just look at the grid failures across the U.S. with everything that's been converted over to wind and solar, and where they've shuttered coal and natural gas plants, and those are literally the parts of the country that are having rolling blackouts and massive grid failures. Is everywhere that they've done that. Like it's surely they can't be naive enough to think that this is a real solution for the future, right? Like I don't know. I just can't. My brain can't wrap itself around like the stupidity involved in this logic.
Well, two things. One, the politicians don't know. But they could know. They'd have the ability, right? They have access to the experts. And like the big issue with a lot of the green energy stuff is let's say it's true that a small portion of the desert in New Mexico or whatever is capable of powering the whole rest of the country with solar power based on the amount of power you collect. Let's say it's true. The reason that's not possible is because you can't transfer the power over that long a distance, voltage drop, et cetera, et cetera. So whenever they say something like that, like, oh, in this area, they have enough to power the whole world. It's like, well, okay, but it doesn't. It's not possible. It's not feasible. So there's no way that you could produce enough green energy in any one place, right, to power all of Europe. And that's sort of, at least in my opinion, like with the solar panels or wind turbines, like that's the pro and the con of them, is that they can either be very regional, which is awesome. Like if you're in a place that maybe works really well for that, or your house or something, that's awesome. But on a grand scale, it's just, it has to be part of a bigger network. You can't just produce it all in one place and just ship it out. It just doesn't work like that. So it's, if they're trying to sell something like that, then that's very silly on the practical sense. But again, to answer your thing, like, they don't know shit, man. Like, I think it was one of the Maxine Waters or one of those was talking about how she went to some place in like Alabama and the people were so poor that they didn't have a sewer system. And she was basically describing they had septic tanks. And she was talking about how terrible this is that they have septic systems, like because she's never lived somewhere that's had a septic system, like everywhere she's had has been nice and hoity-toity, has a sewer system, and it's just like, dude, like, what are you talking? I don't want a sewer system, right? You know what? My water and toilet works like now. I don't need a Mississippi, the Jackson, Mississippi kind of thing going on or anything like that. We're cool. We're cool out here. You stay away.
We're on like a community well type of a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
they are such a pain in the ass to deal with. Like the co-op that runs that or whatever. It's like, we have been strongly talking about and considering just like dropping off of that and rehooking back to the well that's on the property and just being like, fuck that shit. Because there's
Why
a
wouldn't
level
you?
there's a level of convenience with like having that, but at the
You
same
don't have
time,
to maintain the stuff.
don't have to maintain anything. You have a more consistent water pressure. Like there's a certain ease that goes along with that. But at the same time, like, they're dickheads. Fuck them. Like, why are we still fucking with these dumbasses? Like, let's just pull off of it. And so there will be more in-depth conversations being had about that over the next couple months. And we may end up just pulling off and hooking back up to the well here on the property. Cause like, yeah, I don't need city water. I mean, it's not city water, but it's, it's a community well. Like it's treated and stuff, but I mean, okay, I can have my normal well. Oh, go, Mark.
Okay, don't run it yet because I'm gonna sound like a retard, but I'm semi-serious here. One day I was at the zoo and I was looking at a jellyfish. I was like, if I could hook a USB cord up or Bluetooth to this jellyfish, I feel like this is the cleanest energy around. Have we done enough research into jellyfish?
Well,
I'm not trying to hurt the jellyfish, but I feel like there's a lot of untapped energy potential there.
I'm not sure what jellyfish power is like, but in the wake of losing Russian oil and gas, the United Kingdom is lifting the fracking bans in a bid to boost their fuel supply.
You're not even going to tell me that it's maybe a good idea, the jellyfish idea.
Like, I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just
research
saying,
just has to be done.
All right, I don't know how it would work.
You're the science guy. I'm not going and research. You
It
research
would
bees.
It would probably be easier with like electric eels or something. I feel like jellyfish are too big and like.
I know, you watch them at the zoo and they're just like blinking on and off, and I was mesmerized. I was like, I just need an aquarium of jellyfish.
Your car, it's just like in the back seat. Oh, that's my fuel source.
And maybe they'll like it. I don't know. People be like, "Oh, that's mean to the jelly." I mean, what else they do? Swim around and blink? Like, that seems.
Yeah, I don't think they think much.
I'm not sure there's actually a like a central nervous system or a brain in there. It seems to be mostly just mobile nerve tissue.
They are pretty though. Scary.
I'll look into it and I'll update you guys.
Yeah, get back to us. Let us know how this experiment goes in the trunk of your car, and make sure you keep Brad on speed dial, because if they sting you, you're gonna need somebody to pee on you. So
Dag's closer to jellyfish than I am. I don't think I'm gonna find any in Lake Michigan.
I have seen them in the wild.
I have too. A little
Yes.
freaky.
It is. It's terrifying. You're just like suddenly in like a swarm of them, and it's like, oh, let me get out of here.
Yeah.
Some of them sting you, some of them don't. I don't really want to find out.
It's an energizing experience.
Damn it, roll the thing.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.